Dear student, Assalamu alaikum. I hope all of you are fine by the grace of Almighty Allah. I am Mohammad Shahjahan, Assistant Professor, Department of Accounting, Milestone College, Uttara, Dhaka. Dear student, this is our second lecture on chapter 4. All of you know that this is capital and revenue transaction. Dear student, at the end of this lecture, you will be able to determine capital receipt. You can able to determine the revenue income. You can able to determine revenue receipt. You can able to determine revenue expenses. You can able to determine revenue payment, and we will able to determine find out owner's equity. Let's come to our class. Dear student, this is a practical problem from your books. So if you have books, take your books, then it will be easier for you to find the answer. The following transactions are from the business of Borhan Enterprise in 2017. Look at, we have some transaction, capital investment in business, machinery purchase, loan taken from bank, good purchase, employee salary paid, electricity and telephone bill paid. Then we have more transaction, uh, depreciation of machineries, receipt from investment, rent paid out of 3000 for 2018, and commission received, which include 4000 for 16, goods sold done by the owner for own use. Dear student, all of you know that we are doing here math for 2017. So we have some transaction for 18 also, some transaction for 16 also. The requirement, the amount of capital received. Dear student, if you can remember, last class we have discussed capital receipt means the receipt which is irregular. That means the receipt which will not receive in regular interval, that is capital receipt. And we have very few example of capital receipt. If you can remember, last class I have told you we have only 3 example of capital receipt, that is capital invested in the business, loan taken from bank, and sale of any asset. So we have read out the question. We have only look at capital invested in the business, that is capital receipt, loan taken from bank, this is another capital receipt, and there is no sale of asset here, so only 2 capital receipt. Let's see the solution. Look at the amount of capital receipt. It is capital bought 5 lakh and loan taken 3 lakh, that means total 8 lakh. This is the capital receipt. There is no other example of capital receipt. I hope all of you understand. Just if you can remember the basic thing, capital receipt means the receipt which is received regular interval, irregular interval, not regularly. That is capital receipt, and we have 2 example here, only capital receipt and loan taken. Then our next requirement is look at the amount of revenue income and expenditure, revenue receipt and payment. That means 4 requirement we have here. Number 1, revenue income. That means the income which received regularly. Revenue means regular interval, and capital means irregular, and revenue means it will give a service for short term, and capital means it will give us for long term. So revenue income and expenditure. Look at revenue income and expenditure. If we see the question, revenue income, depreciation of capital invested, it is already capital. Machinery purchase, it is capital expenditure, because machinery will give a service for long time, and no organization purchase machine every day, every week. Loan taken, you know that it is capital receipt. Good purchase, this is revenue expenditure. Good purchase, this is revenue expenditure. Then employee salary, this is also revenue expenditure, because regularly you have to pay. Electricity and telephone bill paid, this is also revenue expenditure. And then depreciation of machinery, this is also a revenue expenditure. Received from investment, this is revenue received. This is revenue received, that means interest on investment. Rent paid, here 3000 for 2018, that means 40,000, whole 40,000 is our revenue expenditure, revenue payment, but expenditure is 40,000 minus 3,000, because this 3,000 is not expenditure for this year. So dear student, what is it? Yes, rent paid 40,000 out of 3,000 is revenue payment is okay, but in revenue expenditure we will write 37,000. Then commission received, whole 50,000 is our revenue received, but out of this 4,000 for 2016, so this will be subtracted when we will calculate revenue income. Revenue income is 50,000 minus 4,000, that means 40,000. Let's see the solution, dear student. Look at revenue income. received from investment, this is revenue income, commission received, out of that 4,000 will be subtracted, so 46,000, and goods sold, this is our revenue income. So total amount of revenue income is 20 lakh 60,000. Total amount of revenue income is 20 lakh 60,000. I hope all of you understand. Of course, dear student, again and again I am telling, if you have any confusion, you should discuss with me. Then look at revenue received. Revenue received from investment, it is 14,000. This is revenue received. Commission received, that means here we have to write full amount, whatever money we have received, no subtraction, full amount is our revenue received. And goods sold, this is also a revenue received, so 20 lakh 64,000. Now revenue expenses, look at employee salary paid, this is revenue expenditure. Electricity and telephone bill, this is also revenue expenditure. All of you know that revenue expenditure means regular expenditure, and which will give a service for short time. Employee salary, if you paid salary, it will give 1 month service, it will give 2 months service, that means short term service. That means whatever money you have given, that is short term service, that is revenue expenditure. Then electricity and telephone bill, that is also revenue expenditure. Rent paid, this is a revenue expenditure. And look at 40,000 minus 3,000. Why is 3,000? Because this 3,000 is for another year, so that's why this will be subtracted. That means we have 37,000 revenue expenditure. Depreciation of machineries 15,000, this is also a revenue expenditure. Good purchase, another important example of revenue expenditure. I hope all of you understand. Then our next topics, revenue payment. Look at employee salary paid, electricity bill paid, rent paid. Here no subtraction. Full amount is revenue payment, because whatever we have paid, that is revenue payment. Then depreciation of machineries, this is also a revenue payment. Good purchase, this is also a revenue payment. So total amount 14 lakh 47,000. This is our revenue payment. So revenue expenditure is over, revenue payment is over, revenue receipt is over, revenue payment also over. Now we have requirement C. Let's see the question. Yes, find the amount of Borhan Enterprise, equity of Borhan Enterprise. Equity of Borhan Enterprise, dear student, if you can remember the formula of equity, we have learned in chapter 2, chapter 3 also. The equity means the money of owner, the money of owner. For that we have a formula. Earlier I have discussed the owner's equity. There are 4 elements will be in owner's equity. At first you have to write the capital. At first you have to write the capital. Look at the question. We have capital. Capital invested in the business, it is 5 lakh. So at first item will be this 5 lakh. And then revenue income, not received. Dear student, keep it in mind, revenue received and income almost synonymous, but these are not same. So we will write revenue income, not revenue received, and you calculate in requirement B revenue income. Look at what is the amount of revenue income. Yes, revenue income is 20 lakh 60,000. Then we have to subtract revenue expenditure. We have to subtract revenue expenditure. That also we have calculated in requirement B. Look at revenue expenses. It is 14 lakh 44,000. We cannot write revenue payment. We cannot write revenue payments. Only revenue expenditure will be here. Then last item will be, if there is any drawings, that will be also subtracted. Wood done by owner. Look at here. Wood done by owner 5,000. So that also will be subtracted. Let's see the solution, dear student. Yes, this is owner's equity. The formula, keep it in your mind, you have to memorize it. The formula of owner's equity equals to C plus R minus E minus D. C for capital, R for revenue, E for expenditure, D for drawings. Dear student, this requirement is very important in chapter 2 and 3 also. That's why I am discuss. Dear student, you have to keep it in mind. This will become for 4 marks in the exam 100%. Either in chapter 2 or chapter 3 or in chapter 4. So what is the formula of owner's equity? Capital plus revenue minus expense minus drawings. Capital, in the question we have seen that capital is 5 lakh. Capital is 5 lakh. Then revenue income from B we have seen it is 20 lakh 60,000. Then revenue expenditure, it will also in from B, it is 14 lakh 14,000. It will be subtracted. And if there is drawings, in the question we have drawings, if there is drawing, that also will be subtracted. It is 5,000. So dear student, when we add and subtract all this item, capital plus revenue income minus revenue expenditure, then minus drawings, then it is 11 lakh 11,000. This is our owner security. So dear student, this CQ1 is very important for your exam. I hope all of you understand. If there is any types of confusion, if there is any types of doubt, you should discuss with me. Dear student, we are only solving CQ1, so you may have doubt. Inshallah, this will be your homework. You will do